Hey, I'm Lex, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. I've been sipping on some fancy adult ice cream, daiquiris, if you will, because I'm a fancy bitch, and this idea came to me like an angel of alcohol parting the cloudy skies. This video is the digitized equivalent of a scientific breakthrough and is sure worth my time and yours. So I decided to translate the entirety of Pokemon Violet and, by extension, Pokemon Scarlet. And what I found was alarming. Well, not really that alarming, but it was pretty interesting to me at least. So, the Pokemon language is a bit weird, and there are multiple languages, notice the quotation marks in that, across several games. Specifically the games that have come out since the Switch 1 and on into the Switch 2. If you've ever noticed the weird symbols that are plastered everywhere, that's what we're talking about today. When I learned that a language was developed for in-universe use, I was overly excited. I'm kind of a nerd for stuff like that, and stuff like this, and stuff like everything. I'm kind of a nerd, full stop. The language type, I guess, that we're going to be talking about debuted in Gen 8's Sword and Shield and has also come back in Gen 9's Legends ZA, the fandom having dubbed it Poke-Latin. Also, one final thing to mention before getting started, though fueled by daiquiris, this video idea came about from a website I came across a while back called PokemonAh.net. That's ah with 3 A's, and as such, you can blame them almost entirely for this video. But seriously, they seem like really great folks and have put a crazy amount of work and effort into something that is so specific and niche and exactly up my alley. An enormous amount of this video will be piggybacking off of their hard work. Check them out if such specific intricacies as gibberish languages and Pokemon games interest you the way it does me. Without further ado, let's get this nightmare started, and as nightmares often start, we're going to start in Lax's bedroom. Anyways. Looking around the bedroom, we can see 2 books adorning a shelf, one with a pink cover featuring a Choodle telling us to dritch, and a red book titled Yibbers with a Pikachu. Yeah, it's gonna be a goofy video. Strap in. Moving to the other side of the room, we see a map of Paldea, colloquially known as Voclum, and a poster over the bed featuring several Pokeballs says Nuzlocke's birth. Heading down the stairs, it's pretty void of literature, thanks iPad Mom, except for a couple of parcels from Real, featuring a Tauros. Heading outside and down the path, we run into a very prolific sign letting you know the general area of where you are. You are in Daltak. Remember that. You will be in Daltak a lot. As well as directional signage, left to Qfcbojicte and right into Qfcbojicte. Making our way to our first Pokemon Center near Los Platos, you'll see tons of advertisements because you know my stance on monetization. An Ice Cube Ice Pop ad showing their popular flavor, Qfcbojicte, a BSA branded Zigshik tea or coffee or poop water ad, hard to tell, Quillfish endorsed Katausk Levisp, now in RQJ 8800 and the all-new SJQ 9900, wow. Wingle's Sport Mode Croc Sandals, Crandall's, the Foda Svejik, Wignalia, Travel by, oh god, Mick for Cow, Rick Hectrigo. The same poster we saw in our room, Nuzlocke's birth in collaboration with Gary Oak, apparently. In Kirchen brand noodles, new flavor of Jitwa Voclum Sick Biddy. And finally, Afaquia brand Limpsick, now with a 1-year Dedenne warranty. The multiplayer thing is also on every Pokemon Center wall and in several other locations and always says Mesagoza Dislov. A small dessert cart selling Mibgek Fuxibo and Regeptro, respectively. Those sound like drugs. As well as plenty of cute as fucks roofs. Heading through Area 1 South, we're met with one new sign showing us the way to Mr. Roo, right near the Ebiga. This is another popular area, as the game will undoubtedly show us. Finally, inside Mesagoza, we're met with a near insurmountable list of shops that I will most assuredly be mounting. Starting off with Jeek, which repeats on the front sign of the coffee shop a few times, the shop itself repeating a few dozen times throughout the game as well. And a lovely stir-fry restaurant by the name of Wimpschkiss, known for their whale brisket special, also serving Rikakao and Ugu, and their Sokpabikoff is to die for. Femur, featuring Santa in bird form, same chick if you will, a poster of a bespectacled Sneasel, and her all-new Hergate Kahau. Tons of deals also posted out front to draw in the common man, including Sagba for $3.99 and Qfcbojicte for $200. Also available, 40 inches of Tibj Karko Haktaj Fitwa. Oh, now only $800. Fuck, $600. Right around the corner is a soup kitchen of sorts. Reckelbecht. Big Reckelbecht fans in Paldea. Moving down the alleyway, Quickler Bakery sells marvelous Wesselbrisk. Across the plaza is what appears to be a pawn shop of sorts with various treasures for sale, including Qfcbojicte and Qfcbojicte. There are 5 branches of the local seafood franchise, Hibidi Fixiv, floating around in Mesagoza alone. They're doing pretty well for themselves. Your local sandwich chain, Qfcbojicte, has Lizdiv Tifiziv for $4.50, including fresh Ejeb Kataj and Dritch Squibbit. Also returning is world-famous Reckelbecht with added Vumsk. And into the square we've got the Rough and Tough, represented with a stylized JF, abbreviating JCFE. They sell shoes, socks, and glasses from brands like ATAO, Rewa, DJ, and R. A cart just down the way has a sale on Izwiz and Qfcbojicte. Pick Knickknacks has new branding in Adalqui as well as Atafak. Flavored backpacks right across the way. Catty corner to Atafak, we have a hair salon repping Qfcbojicte. The Z makes it cool. Right near the eastern gate, a new pretzel vendor is selling hot, buttery Gijiwamak. Gleslav appears to be a post office or travel agency of some kind, while Hatau seems to be a bank and has barred windows, neither of which are go-inable by the player. Various vending machines throughout the region are interesting though, with what is definitely a reversed lowercase m followed by what appears to be a capital F and more garbled text. Is the first instance of script being written backwards or otherwise incorrectly, as far as the word incorrectly goes in terms of totally made up nonsensical words. And one more unique cart salesman appears to be selling sweets under the name of Kurgat Kufgok. I also found this interesting. The store those boxes in our home came from has a branch in Mesagoza. Real, also with its Tauros mascot. And finally, for the outside Mesagoza portion, Mako, with a sunflower really feeling it, Mr. Krabs. Crossing the metaphorical and not metaphorical threshold, the Academy has a buttload of stuff to read as well, starting right at the entrance with the bookshelves. Every single shelf is categorized as Datra. Suck it, Dewey Decimal System! As well as a statue on the topmost level of the entrance hall that frankly looks like an ancestor of both Clive and Jacques that is a plaque with Rizvab Zudvaiz Taxilov. The cafeteria has a very important sign behind the counter, presumably for chefs, stating clearly, Agfo Mibsgussi Rikakau. Likewise, their specials menu touts their finest Mibgecooked. Moving into the biology classroom with Jacques, this is where I decided to hammer down a new rule. If the text I am trying to decipher is too illegible, it ain't getting deciphered. This wasn't meant to be read in general, let alone squinted and guessed at. With that in mind, the hollow board appears to be discussing various topics of Jibit Cocker, Dash Kokt Zay, and even Kohektaj Fitbichkitkauj. Signs posted on the right wall give reminders infrequently broached topics like Loot Jocked, J-Bit Cocker again, and Iagok Zepipkok. Moving on to Hassel's double subject room of art and sense-making, we've got a reminder for Agfoxia on the right wall, and the rest of the text is garbled, but I'm pretty sure you know what it's about. A color theory poster on the left wall reads Hergate Cow, the same text that was on the Sneasel poster from outside, as well as a familiarly titled poster of a color wheel with Squikba in the center. Up next, Homek with Mr. Muscle's Saguaro, and just barely legible is Iktager and Hakurt on the right wall when we enter the room. Above that is what appears to be almost entirely a schedule of scribbles, but at least the title of Hakajgo Iktager Akwak is clear. Moving towards the staff room, there's plenty to not notice here as well, including a small poster on the right past the lockers that reads Agfoskia. A notice board, maybe some type of schedule, on the rear left wall reads Zokbig, Vekrej, Tret, Be, Qxi, obviously. On the very edge of the left wall is a large green banner, proudly proclaiming Libriskity Kruvs Shikti, with a lot of other nuh-uh right below it. In Director Notclive's office is a poster on the left wall drawn in crayon or marker reading Qfcbojicte. And quite plainly the most interesting thing in the video thus far, on the right side of the room is an upside-down poster that should read Levincia. Their own art team flipped it upside down because even they didn't realize that it was supposed to be a written language. And finally, the whiteboard on the left-hand side has a ton of writing on it, but very little is readable. Qfcbojicte. Next up is the nurse's station. A poster of how to wash one's hands states Qfcbojicte, Qfcbojicte. And lastly for this room is a small pink poster whose contents are mostly obscured by a cabinet, but the title says Elber's Kitty Croofs. I feel like a fucking Sims. Outside the interior schoolyard, the exit signs all say Bixta, and the only other thing that has text is a big red box that I think is just a fire extinguisher of sorts, reading Imresh Okwij Boker, Eoagwik, Chikwa, Kia, Werfit, Sapt. Classrooms A1, D1, and G2 are all pretty much the same, just with different colors, so we'll more or less just go over A1. A1 has a few posters on the right wall when you walk in, reading Qfcbojicte and Qfcbojicte, respectively. And one more right past the hollow board stating Dix Reshik Vivats. Along the left wall are a ton of writing that we've already come across, and one new one of Qfcbojicte. D1 has one additional signage mixed in with all the repeats of A1 with Qfcbojicte on the left-hand wall. Holy cow, that finally rounds out the academy. A lot of dev hours were directly put into this area, so it stands to reason that there was a disproportional amount of gibberish added as well. Let's move on to the rest of the game world. Most of the game is flat countryside, pretty devoid of writing, but in some locations, mostly in towns, we get a few new words. Artisan is our first town, leaving Mesagoza and going counterclockwise, and immediately we see a new storefront, coined Fibiter, say Webeficia. God, I hope they sell dictionaries. On every gym front are 3 letters. Can you guess the letters? Did you guess GYM? Well, you're wrong. It's actually WOI, as in, why am I doing this? Swikbois and Dikfobois are also adorning the left-hand side of the door, presumably stating operational hours. Gym interiors are all exactly the same, so we'll just go over this one here and save everyone a few brain cells. The desk and front wall over the counter read T. Hafaker, and the first time we're seeing moving text in the gym lobby as well, stating Qfcbojicte F. Beck Iw Gik Isakaba Quert. Instructions on where mousehold come from can be found on the left and right hand side of the large center screen, reading Mr. Ru Kigbofki Ebig. And on the far right side of what appears to be a daycare area is a poster with Chef Greedent from Pokopia making a surprise precursor appearance with strong words of encouragement like Fitbickers Wick Wokwi. And lastly, a few magazines are readable in the stand on the far right wall as well. Wikjo, Lizdevstiv, Qfcbojicte, and Qfcbo. Back outside, the Sunflora Field has a wooden sign that reads Qfcbojicte, and every single plaque on any piece of art in town reads DTI, presumably don't touch, idiot. Making our way to the last large hurdle of Paldea, the neon-forward town of Levincia. Our first stop is the south side, where we encounter a hat store called Herga and a shoe store named Qfcbo. Qfcbojicte, that sells socks, Adowaki with their finest sandwiches, and Lafwa selling backpacks and other adventuring supplies as long as it's backpacks. Encountering here also our very first fine diner, Qfcbojicte, serving finer dinings like Tixlissel. We also encounter a pancake sign for the first time, Qfcbojicte. No idea where we might find these pancakes, but Qfcbojicte, they're good. Ha! Also beleaguering Levincia are billboards, big neon billboards everywhere, and we need to translate all of those as well. On the surface, that seems like a real pain in the butt, but even though there are over 40 billboards in town, there are only 7 different ads that they cycle through, and of those 7, only 6 have text. We've got Cat Pea Soda Difkabwa featuring Sprigatito. Brassius is also offering artistic choking lessons with Egerjerkt Ekahebor Jurig in association with YCBFC with free Alkertak. I Fucks'em, feat by Mok Gwaj Ehekaj. Rokalore loops with very familiar branding in J-Bit Cocker. Eau du Surgebach Fragrance by Tulip. That was my French accent. Please don't at me. And lastly, Quaxwell, repping the Hatao banking app and the all-new Hatao debit card, now with Hatao chip connectivity. Hatao! Finally moving on to the other side of town, we see a new glasses shop, Vision by Shikti, with brand recognition posters touting Kurdidi and Isra. Another backpack store is right around the corner, named Edibafuck, alongside a mitten store, maybe, named Livsuf. A new sushi shop I don't think we've encountered yet, called Quickler Olifjit Ausk, is here too, alongside a new Chinese restaurant called Dost. And lastly, the Fresh Foods Mart, where you can get Bikuchi with all your daily Alkbrak Bikchuka needs. A sale sign in a tomato bin to the right reads Te Agwak Mok, and the sign to the left of the door simply reads Re. Our next stop is Montenevra, since there is quite literally not a single written word between Levincia and the mountain. There could theoretically be something on the yellow trucks that dot the landscape, but the texture resolution is so low that there's no way to really tell. Anyways, Montenevra is great. There are only 2 new signs, and one of them is the Lantern Arches, whose text is actually modeled in 3D, reading Jizvekjivsiv. Our second sign comes in the form of a new storefront-esque building featuring ghostly eyes with the words Iajaki on a brick-mounted wooden sign and a large wood banner, and boy did I try to read the smaller sign for way too long before I realized they were the same word. Next up, we're headed to Porto Marinara, a pretty nothing town whose main purpose is the gym test for Kofu from Cascarafa, and I guess the item auction is a thing, but man, I don't do that. But interestingly enough, there's a uniquely modeled entrance sign with unique text as well. Akvoquiai Waselb. Okay, not super unique text, we have seen it before, but an entrance sign not saying Daltak is a big win. A Delibird Presence warehouse is also tucked near the edge of town with its femur logo here as well. There is a lot of Poke-Latin in Cascarafa itself, but quite literally all of it has been translated before, so we can skip over this town. Medali, my muse. Oh boy, this has some interesting stuff. Strap in. Starting off, over the market entrance banner says Fucky Mac in a cool neon font that we've never seen before. And although we've seen most of these shops before, there is what appears to be a realty storefront called Qfcbojicte. Circling back around, there's the Treasure Eatery sign reading Lifgit over the main entrance, a dark blue flag banner on the left-hand side of the building showing Quicked Big. Specials signage just left of the door state Fakria Zibijk and Guwaf Worked Gugubigwaf, as well as several items also listing presumably their prices, though it could also be listing the minutes they take off of your life. And this silly little teal sign hidden in plain sight. Remember this font? I tried figuring it out for quite a while until I realized they aren't even stylized Poke-Latin, but seemingly an entirely different lettering altogether. I even went as far as to host it in Discord and then open it as a web address so that I could reverse image search it, and even fed it into Google Gemini, and, well, that probably wasn't the correct answer. Anyways, we'll be touching back on that one a little bit later on.
Phrasing.
Inside, we're met with a ton more signage, appearing mostly to talk about pricing, all phrases that we've seen before. Jiwam, Iwo, Iwaf, and Kitkaba, all for various prices. A large sign on the high left wall that reads Fakabo. And way in the back, Tibgawaf Makigiwa is legible on a poster adorning the rear wall. It's possible there is signage in the seating area, but I don't think you could re-enter it after you battle with Larry. Cortando is the last town that has anything worth looking at, even though Alfornada does have plenty of signs to read. Nothing of them is new to us, just repeats of storefronts that we've seen 10 times over. Cortando, however, has a couple of things. The Tree Bakery is named Qfcbojicte Baklam, and they have a deal of ribper, according to the sign. Also interestingly, the giant olive baskets in the field have the familiar "Woi" that is also plastered on every gym. The Pokemon League has exactly one interesting thing outside. The building itself lets you know where you are with a good old Web McCadge back quidge. One last stop, and it's the last area of the main game, Area 0. Area 0's coverage starts before we even go down there, in the dive platform room thing. First thing we can notice is the large design in the middle of the floor that reads Absol with BXS Daltak Kasiv JC Femursh in a large circle around that. Note the Daltak and the femur taking up parts of those words. Very interesting. In the basement of this facility are containers with the Absol logo on them. This logo also appears on all the research stations down in the crater, as well as the ramp at the very bottom. Qfcbojicte appears on the vertical chemical tanks in the various research stations along the Area Zero route as well. And on one overturned chemical tank is what appears to be a warning, Wesselburs, meaning don't overturn me, uwu. As we're approaching the final spiral down to the big lab, there's a man-made plaque that reads Web McJick AZLA0 Osawake 00. This is the first time we're seeing numbers at all, ever. And I think purposefully it is a 0 for Area Zero. There's just so little chance of that being coincidental. AZNAZLA0 may also refer to Area Zero. Absol that we've seen throughout the area to this point may also be in that same vein, the A and the Z meaning Area Zero. Or it's random and we're staring at gibberish at 2 in the morning. Nah. The Deep Down Lab has one final thing worth translating, and it's a Delibird box with femur on it, of course. There's also a crazy amount of algebra or other mathematical formulae on the whiteboards, and if it is algebra, I'm not going to bother translating it. If you'd like me to try, leave a comment, but when it comes to algebra, I'm pretty sure you're just swapping letters for numbers, and this is just that, but the symbols are Poke-Latin. That's it for Paldea, and a great stop for part 1. I was originally going to make this a 2-video thing, but I think we nipped this one in the bud. Let's travel to DLC 1, the Teal Mask, and visit Kitakami. We're deposited at the bus stop like a good boy, and remember how we saw those symbols on the treasure eatery a few minutes ago? Yeah, those. Well, they're back. Turns out they weren't just made-up gibberish, they were regular gibberish, and that poster in Paldea was a tease for DLC 1, the Teal Mask, way back before it was announced. On top of that, the lettering here was adapted from the Pokemon language of Hisui, the region of ancient Sinnoh from Pokemon Legends Arceus, and hang on to your butts, it's supposedly all based on Japanese, and guess who doesn't speak Japanese at all? Did you guess right? But Google speaks somewhat great Japanese in its translate feature, and I found a few Japanese dictionaries to parse the varying phrases I ran into. All piggybacked, of course, off of the folks at Pokemon Ah's work. Our first sign on the bus stop reads Siteyuya, and Google told me that means someone's on the roof. Yeah, strap in. Again, part 2's gonna be a banger. We've also got 2 benches. The left one with a Pelipper on it reads Mirae, or the distant future, and the right bench, Ru Neho Toko, states non-existent sports. Continuing up the path to the town proper, an entrance sign reads Tihu Mu, translating to the ceremonial sake decanter with a spout and semicircular handle, or mother. The large vertical script reads, again, non-existent, or possibly some guy named Thu. A red sign with a piplup that initially I thought was a stop sign reads Ta He Yu Ha Te, or the end, or extremity, which makes sense since it's a stop sign posted at either end of the town. But there's also a large red pipe below the sign, which makes me think that it's a fire hydrant, considering piplup is there. To the right of the hotel, the shop reads Tu Ne O Ya Yu O Mi Hu. Translates to, so it's a matter of you and me, hyphen, or rather you or me, on the Pokemon Mart. The fuck? A poster on the storefront reads Ri-Ti-Ki, roughly translating to, go ahead, waste everyone's time. Oh. A large banner on the left-hand side of the hotel is the same banner we saw outside the Treasure Eatery, and now that I'm wiser, I see that Yuru-Te-Ra means shake that Yuri. Oh, okay. Yeah, that Google reverse image search is wildly even more inappropriate with context. Wow! The small yellow sign to the immediate left of the door reads Tehu Je Ro, or wallet-sized vomit. It could also mean negative hands depending on the spacing in the letters, which I have zero context for. And finally, the right-hand sign next to the front door reads Ta Te Ti Tu Yo Tu, and clearly translates to a little big front to the back governmental party. Finally, inside the hotel, we have a few more interesting signs, starting with what I assume are restrooms, judging by their color-coded signs and the fact that they are off to the side. The red sign reads Ni Uyu Mi Kasa, or run hot and cold water for the umbrella. And Ke Neto Mi Ru'a on the blue sign translates to anxiety, wealth, ranjuan, or non-existent hair. Really could go either way here. New Ti Tu Ta Su adorns what I assume is an elevator door, meaning news Ti To task. Oh, it could actually be a unisex bathroom, or maybe one of the family restrooms, sometimes utilized for moms and dads with small children. Interesting. Ru Ne Ho Toko sits atop the rear door and seems to read, "Run to the door, child." That sounds goofy, but it could be an emergency exit, as it is yellow after all. And finally, the animated screen on the left wall near the yellow door seems to read Yuha Se Semu Me, or soot delivery, I'm sorry. That takes care of the town of Masui, and we're next headed to the Kitakami Festival Plaza. On the way, we see a new sign that reads Ni Ha Yo Mu, which says, read this, and then follows it up with weirdly pokey Latin for Qfcbojicte. Yeah, read it, dum-dum. The plaza itself has a ton of stalls and signage as well. Starting with the first stall on the left, we see Ti-i-u-hu, or natural disaster, Tihi. The second stall reads Ki Te Zi Ti, meaning someone is coming from the local government. The third and fourth stall on the left read To Yu Ku Ni and Tu Te Me, translating to anointing region and two-handed eyeball, respectively. The right side has a couple of repeat stalls, but the second on the right reads Gimori Nisuge, or attached to the shrine grove. And finally, the third stall on the right reads a friendly message of Ya Ge Tu Te Me, or you said no sooner than Monday, go to hell. Just past the main plaza building is a large and ornate signpost with a truly epic tale on it. The very first top characters read Te Nu Ha, or in my hand. And the rest of the board is read, I assume, up to down, right to left, like traditional Japanese is read. Starting on the right, we see Mi Ma Hu and Gimori ni Gu Ge Rimu, demon or evil spirit, and then protection ceremony, two-faced mask, respectively. At this point, I was really excited. This seems like a contiguous and coherent narrative, and I translated something correctly. We follow with Ritiki Hasu Hu To and Ko Ki To Raku Tu Te Ha, continuing the narrative with T Nature Spirit Buddha and a literal quote from a conversation, quote, you said a young spirit. Oh, okay, the narrative isn't as sound as it was. Buddha is in the middle of it, and we're pivoting mid-signpost to a conversation between two people, apparently. But our next two lines read, Oge ata ika ke to and tota ru'u ti ka ni zi, or Mr. Icky Thailand, when does the tea shop open? Ya ge tu te me ha, followed with Hosaku ke mi ka saku, or Thu said no sooner than it appears, literally continuing this weird tea shop narrative. The second part could also be translated into the Edo period inspection of rice plants in conical hats, depending on character spacing, but I'm gonna assume that it's just a continuation of the conversation, because that other one's weird. Ta ha yu ha te gi ru ra, or yes indeed, followed by ne ke yo ku nu ge mi I, or hey, excellent, we must wait, would seem to reinforce my conversation theory. It then goes off the rails with Mono Yu Ni Ki, or geez, that's Yune's guilt, followed very coherently, I might add, with Zitne Ge Nu Ogi Yu Me, or that's a hot water icky dude ceremony. That may be closer to like the ceremony is near the hot springs? Tasuki Ria Ge Toku and Ka no Teku Ti Ho Mi round off the speech with the nature spirit has the rear advantage, and mosquito's hand-looking hand, respectively, followed finally by Isa, or I said ... Now, it is entirely possible that I had this entire signpost backwards. As I am sure you're aware by the everything about me, I am not cultured enough to understand the intricacies of Japanese when it makes sense, let alone when it's run through a Pokemon language cipher and then furthermore through Google Translate. So, here's the entire story written in the other direction in case that makes it make more sense to any of you. You're welcome. At the Loyalty Plaza, there's a statue plaque thing to the right of the shrine that reads Zi ne ge nu o gi yu, which appears to mean the male disappointment ceremony is not here. Yo, so true, bestie. And one final big-ish sign on the way to the Infernal Pass. Same rules as last time, right to left, up to down. We start with Gimori no Suge, or go further to the yearly ceremony of the ghosts. Ooh, could be something good here. Ket Nito Miru follows up with View if Bald. Alright, maybe not. Te Hu Jiro and Nu Yu Ti Tu Ta Su are up next and say, seems like they have no hands and the Russian news agency has all the hot tea, which is said by Thu, in the quote that is said by Thu, respectively. Welcome back, Thu. To taru uti ka ni zi, meaning ask the question when in the capacity of the tea building, and lastly, tu gi kiru, or next page. The final thing in Kitakami is the Ogre Oustin minigame. Also requests that we shake our Yuri with the ever-copied Yuru Tera, and that's about it for Kitakami. The fancy signposts appear in several other locations, but they all say the same thing. And for my next trick, we're leaving the land of Kitakami and its semi-sense-making, and we're headed back to Poke-Latin Paradise with the Blueberry Academy. Starting off just in the load screen, there's something to be translated there. Its Sijiv Dibim appears below the double Pokeball symbol of the Academy, which, now that I'm looking at it, kinda looks like the item printer from the club room. Speaking of load screens, the Naranja or Uva Academy also has their own load screen, which doesn't show up very often, but does say Risfab Zudvise below the grape or citrus shield emblems. Actually loading into the school puts us in the huge battle court / docking area, and there's a huge screen to decipher right away. A constantly scrolling text stream of, oh god, Zebij Iwa Awaswegia, Zedj Quifia, Zufch Oct Fweb Dibi Squinchif Zay sits at the top of the screen at all times. The screen itself changes to 3 different colors, each displaying new information. Let's start with the teal screen. Below the BBA symbol reads Qfcbojicte, and to the left of that sits a few colored dots with the words Fweb, Lucha, and Oct on them. The blue screen seems to have something to do with type matchups. The fire type, referred to as Sigjik Kokt Takfiz, can sometimes go from I to Riddick. The fairy type, also known as Bikfak Fakataik, has been seen to Bifik when it should be Akak. And the fighting type, or Agfakwe, reiterates when we itch, we bout to IE. The red notice board appears to have a silence all Rotom devices stating Quickleroff Mresh. To the right of that shows apparent hazards of the terrarium, with what looks like meteors or falling rocks, or Catwa. Dritch, meaning apparently thunderstorms or lightning. To the right of that, a depiction of waves maybe, with the word Squibbit. Below that, we have Hakurt beneath a caution sign that maybe is a locked door. Okay, I'm receiving confirmation that it's actually a warning sign for small spoons. Thank you, reliable source. And one more warning sign indicating time or maybe don't be late with Ibio. Moving into the actual school itself, we're going top to bottom starting with Class 1-4. A few posters on the right wall read Shifbikwij, Liz Diffit Fizfux, and ER, while the topic on the holoboard also changes from Paldea, indicating Chrysejk, and appears to be addressing type matchups. On the left of the room is another notice board with a few things to say as well. A pink poster reads Miorg Vaxiak Vich Zig Diddy. Next to that, a yellow poster shows Hagetkwa, Squikba, Dikfopwow. A barely legible blue poster on the far left reads, Rebjua Makgautfa. And my personal favorite bit of literature in this room, this little school newspaper entitled RN Fish, with a little header of Bic Goff I Act over a little picture of what I like to think is Mount Fuji. And of course next to that is some Cotier XS Daltac Sijikakt, a friendly reminder from Daltac to take drugs apparently. Classroom 3-2 is virtually identical to 1-4 except for the hollow board, which appears to now be covering biome conditions in the terrarium with Qfcbojicte and Voklum Sick, giving much needed context. One further left wall poster is new as well, titled Iojaki. All other posters are from 1-4 but slightly moved around. The school store has 2 doors on the left and back wall, both lead to the ear room, and several of the shelves have either Mibik, Qfcbojicte, or Ayagakwe on them. Magazines in the back have Qfcbojicte, J Tao, K Dispa, and wait, what the fuck? Daltac? These guys are everywhere. Qfcbojicte scrolls infinitely in the wall screens in several spots around the school as well, including this room. The cafeteria also has Qfcbojicte in the walls and reuses the kitchen signage and special menu signage from the Paldea Academy. We get a new room here as well, and we got some motherfucking Qfcbojicte on our walls. Carmine just has some candy on her counter, reading Awk and Lexvis. Kieran's room looks like that Always Sunny scene of Mac with red lines all over a board. He's got open Jibby and Ehekach Shishikid brand food wrappers all over the kitchen. Multiple Pokemon data pages on the back wall show Hitmonlee, Mabisfosaur, my good friend Malamar, Rusty Car, Flygon, Exeljet, and of course, Bridge, Rizdift Fizz. We also see some Shake Your Yuri signage as well with Yurutere and Oge to the right, or Ah with an exclamation point. Looks like someone got caught shaking his Yuri. Finally making our way to the League Club room, and this time not to fight anyone. Immediately on the whiteboard are what appear to be tons of battle strategies. With a repeating title of Quickler Fidget, we see smaller notated margins of Kakba, OT, and Oozclicks, as well as an MB alongside the silhouette of an Alolan Executor, presumably named Mr. Big. A poster on the left, titled Capsask, shows different types of Pokeballs, and a poster on the right shows our very first P, titled Pselbristum. Right below that, Joer and Oeweok show the first exclamation point in Poke-Latin and maybe the first punctuation mark as well. A small recycling bin with a sign telling us to Squikpa, and further on the right, a poster with Elekid similarly tells us to Qfcbojicte. Man, they learned about exclamatory statements and fucking ran with them. The next wall has a shelf with tons of stuff on it, mostly all from the school store, except for one poster detailing daily Qfcbojicte Ectie. 2 treadmills with digitized track screens have the pixelated word Mabictifact. A new sign on the right wall says Cow Jiftwa, with the others being reused assets. The huge poster on the same wall says Redka Hectatredge, with the J being a stylized Pokeball, and finally a box of Qfcbojicte on the table. Into the great outside-inside terrarium, the vending machines at various rest stops say Exiv. And all of the pillars with the league symbol atop them say Zofza, with a dot-like degree symbol after that. I couldn't really ascertain what that was supposed to represent, if it was supposed to represent anything more than added nonsense at all. The multiplayer machines still say, "Nyeh," like in other regions. And in the outdoor, indoor, underwater, whatever classrooms, the screen says Vixtob at the top left and the Sick on the top right. And fucking this on the bottom, okay? I'm tired, boss. And that is quite literally everything I found in Generation 9 Scarlet and Violet. And I know you're probably wondering, Lax, what's the most used word, Lax, in the game? Lax, what's the word? Well, it's actually webmix, and the first time I see it is the last thing I check in the video, the Pokedex. It's on top of every single Pokemon entry across all 3 regional dexes. Why? I don't know, man. Life's hard. Now, before I let you go, I have one more word that I'd like to leave with you. Kindness. In this video, I covered a made-up, nonsensical language, and I hope you enjoyed the incredibly dumb premise behind it. However, at the end of the day, this video was about language, or more specifically, communication. The developers didn't wish to give a coherent language, but they did want to communicate a sense of a living, breathing world through environmental storytelling and objective existence. When I started making videos, I had no idea what I wanted to do or be, no idea if I'd ever make a career of this, and even more succinctly, no idea what my style is. I still don't, but what I have found in the last year or so that I've been putting out content is the profound kindness of the folks that watch my videos. I didn't think something as simple as a comment could have such a prolific effect on me, and I'm gonna take that kindness and proliferate it. Spread it as far and as wide as I can with the time that I have. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna go get another daiquiri. Oh, I'm lax.